Hello, hello, hello. Happy Thursday, Cinco de Mayo. Today is Thursday, May 5th, and I am Kendra Corman. I am live here today to talk about the Apple iOS update changes and a little bit about Google's changes for site measurement as we're going. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. If you're here live, let me know. If you're watching the replay, also let me know. #replay. If you have any questions along the way, I'd love to answer them. So today is National Day of Prayer, in addition to Cinco de Mayo. And I was honored enough to be invited to and attend the Rochester Prayer Breakfast here in Michigan this morning. And it was fantastic. One of the things that I took away was and I think I brought it here. So I've got my little program. Well, it's really bright. Okay. So one of the things that the gentleman who did the prayer for community said, which I thought was really good, was don't hide behind your keyboard. He prayed for people that they do not hide behind their keyboard and that they don't post, comment, or share things that they wouldn't say to somebody's face. I thought that was really powerful. And in this day of reactionary posting and things like that, I just wanted to go ahead and share that and point that out. So just something to think about as we join together and pray for no matter what religion or faith you are, pray for our country and our communities, our states, and each other that we have peace. So it was a fantastic breakfast. The keynote speaker, I want to make sure I get his name right, was Ronnie McBrayer. He is from Georgia and he was amazing. I really, really liked him. So just wanted to share that with you guys as part of that before we jump into Apple iOS 15 updates. Okay, so a lot of people have been hearing about these updates and aren't quite sure how it's going to affect their emails and their email open rates. So what I want to talk about is basically anybody that has an Apple iOS 15, so that's the software on their phone or iPad, um, it really eliminates opens as a metric for emails. What Apple is doing is it's pre-opening the emails that anybody gets that uses the Mail app on their phone, iPad, things like that. What is that important, right? So it's part of the Apple's Mail Privacy Protection MPP initiative. It's giving these people the ability to hide the fact that they opened your email. Okay. So what emails do is that they hide what's called an invisible pixel. And a pixel is really, really, really small, that collects information about when and where an email was open, what device was used it to open on, things like that. Well, that information is going away. And it used to be collected when the email was downloaded from the servers. So even if you open an email on your desktop and didn't download the images, so some of us have to right click to download the images from the server, we didn't count as an open. Now, Apple is preloading those images and the content of the email, including the tracking pixel, whether you opened it or not. Now, again, like I said, that makes that data not relevant anymore. Okay. Now, I've had a couple of people say to me, they're like, hey, but I don't have that many people that have the .me. I'm trying to look, let me see. The .me, the iCloud, or the iCloud at me at mac.com email addresses. That doesn't matter. Okay. This is affecting the Mail app. So it's the Mail app on the iPhone and iPad, respectively. According to Litmus, 52% of all email opens in 2021 were in the Apple Mail app. I know when I had an iPhone, I've moved to Samsung. When I had an iPhone, I went ahead and had everything go through the Mail app. It was just easier, right? So just to to stay cognizant of the fact that if it's their Gmail, it's their work email, if they have all of their emails on it, it's all going to be pre-opened. And so now what people are asking me is, now that opens aren't reliable anymore, your click-through rate is going to be a lower rate now because that's based on opens. There's a lot of other things that are going to be negatively affected. I'm a big believer that opens were always vanity metrics anyway. They weren't really showing you where things were at. Yeah, it was an indicator of good things, but not 100% of everything. Hey, Angie, thanks so much for tuning in. I appreciate it. So again, it wasn't a big metric that I pushed people to track, but a lot of people wanted to know how many people opened their email. Just asked last week by a client, how many people opened their email? They had like a 55% email open rate. And I said, that's probably not 100% accurate. So we were able to share a little bit about really what metrics matter, right? So what metrics matter? Let's start with your email list growth rate. How many people are you adding to your email list every month, every week, every day? Your email marketing is extremely important. And even with this mail privacy protection from Apple, you still want to make sure that you're doing email marketing, right? Okay. And growing your email list and showing that people are interested in your content is really a way to help that goes beyond opens. Okay. So that's going to show you how healthy your list is a little bit. Then we want to take a look at clicks and engagement. And I sort of define clicks as engagement. Click-through rates, as I mentioned, are going to be going down because click-through rates are a percentage of opens. But now you got all these opens that aren't real opens, right? So now when we look at it, we have to look at total clicks and engagement in your content rather than just looking at it from click rate, open rate, etc. So we really want to see who's truly clicking. How many people clicked? How many clicks did we get? What did they click on? Watching that engagement and that traction is really what's going to help you with your email marketing stuff. Okay. Another metric that matters is your conversion rate. Okay. So you want to think about, how are you converting people? How many readers are answering your call to action? Is it to download something? Is it to buy something? How many people are actually converting and is it registering for an event? Completing that entire action, right? So for Apple iOS 15 updates, that's all really important stuff. Okay. And then the final metrics that count that I want to talk about is unsubscribes. So yes, you're going to get unsubscribes. It's the way of the world. They're not evil. They're not bad. They're not horrible people. Just something to think about. So as you are, as you're looking at your metrics, you want to watch how many people are unsubscribing. Is it because you're sending too often or sending the wrong content? Are you not segmenting your list correctly? Unsubscribes are really going to give you insight into whether or not your content is the right content for your audience. So it's something to keep cognizant of. Okay. Now, so these are the metrics that matter and count. So again, email list growth rate is extremely important. Then we have clicks and engagement, which are, again, not click rate, but total clicks. That's really important. Your conversion rate. Why do email if you're not trying to get conversions, right? And then unsubscribes. So these are really, really important for you to take a look at. Now, what's not as effective? What else is affected by this Apple iOS 15 update, right? So the first thing is resend to non-openers. Many email systems like Constant Contact that I represent, they have a resend to non-openers feature. So if somebody didn't open an email, it would resend it to them and say, hey, reminder, this event's coming up, whatever it happens to be. Because sometimes, I don't know about you, but when I get over 150 emails a day that are important, not including the newsletters and everything else that I get, right? So when I'm looking at my emails, sometimes an email that I need to take action on falls further down. And so if I didn't open it, I didn't have time that day, I wasn't in the mood, whatever it happens to be, that resend and non-openers really increased people's open rates. But again, now open rates, anybody that's using the mail app will have opened your email. And so they're not going to get those reminders. And that's a big thing to keep in mind. Another thing is automation. Automation is hugely important to allow you to scale when it comes to email marketing. It really helps you with your relevant content, things like that. And because of that, if you base anything on person opening an email, it won't work anymore, right? Because they're not opening the email. So even though you think that they did. So you don't want to trigger anything based on an open. Trigger it based on an action that they take. So a click is a really good one to do, and then trigger everything from there because it really shows that they're interested in it from there. Okay. Another thing that's not as effective is engaged people. So people aren't going to be engaged as much or not show like they're engaged as much when it comes to email marketing. I should say it's going to show that they're more engaged than they really are. And so you're going to show like a larger engaged because engagement in the past has been determined by opens. It shouldn't be. So you might have to custom segment and look and see what your email service is using to determine engagement. And if you wanted to reach out to your most engaged or your least engaged, make sure that it's not based on opens. That's going to be the big thing. So any of those default categories, you're going to want to know what makes those up and then potentially just create your own. Okay. And then this is a little bit along the same lines, but this is segments based on opens as a definition. It can be for engagement, for anything, but don't segment your list anymore based on who opened your email or who opened your last 5 emails. That's going to be an inflated number. So when you're really creating all of this work, it's just something to keep in mind. Okay, so that's all about Apple iOS 15 mail update. Let me see if I had any other notes. I actually think this is good. Email opens, again, were a vanity metric. So you want to focus on your content and creating more personalized content to always answer the question for your readers of what's in it for me. Okay, so this is great. I know it doesn't sound that way because now you're like, oh, look at all these opens. And they didn't really open your email, but that's okay. So again, think about what your audience wants to hear from you and create things that'll drive them to action rather than using vanity metrics to determine how you're doing with your email marketing. Now, a couple people have said, well, if they're doing this with opens, then why should I bother with email marketing? Well, you need to bother with email marketing, okay? Email marketing is one of the most effective and efficient tools you can use in your marketing. So just wanted to let you know that. Okay. So, the second piece of what I'm going to be talking about is Google Analytics. Google Analytics, which is Google Analytics 3, I should say, is going away on July 1st, 2023. What does this mean? Okay. So, first off, Google Analytics is going to stop collecting new data on July 1st, 2023. Yes, it is not even July of 2022. And we're talking about this now because they're seriously taking action. Google Analytics 4 is supposed to increase our ability to see unified user journeys across websites and apps and use Google's machine learning technology to predict new insights and really keep up with a changing ecosystem. And that's according to Google. So Google Analytics 3 and Google Analytics 3 You know if you're using it because it starts with UA, Universal Analytics, okay? It was built for online member measurement that was anchored in the desktop website stuff, independent sessions, more observable data from cookies. And it's just not working as well as it used to, according to Google. So it's supposed to be Google 4, GA4 is supposed to be more advanced in terms of privacy. It's providing more comprehensive and granular controls, things like that. Now, Google is promising that GA4 will better support your business. They want you to understand your customers across touch points and get that full view of that customer life cycle with what they're calling event-based measurement model that is not fragmented by platform and organized into like individual sessions, right? So it's going to, according to Google, improve ROI with data-driven attribution. So you're going to know the full impact of your marketing across the customer journey. It's going to measure your engagement and conversions. Okay, so country level privacy controls that enable you to manage and minimize the collection of user level data like cookies and metadata, but still keeps that key measurement functionality. You're supposed to be able to get greater value from your data with predictive insights, and then easily activate your insights, okay, with other Google products like Google Ads, making it easier to optimize your campaign and for you to pay more money to Google. Okay, so what do you do now? From July 1st, 2023, again, like I said, all these UA or universal analytics properties are going to stop processing new hits. So from October 1st, 2023, the 360 universal analytics properties will do the same. You'll only have access to that data for 6 months afterwards. So if you want to build your historical data, okay, before Universal Analytics stops processing new hits, you need to move to Google Analytics 4 before July 1st of this year. I know a lot of people that really want to have analytics and show year over year comparisons and things like that. If that's what you want to do, that's totally cool. Just make sure that you're doing it, and that you add that code. Google Analytics 4 will run at the same time as the Universal Analytics code. So you can actually be running both in the meantime. But it's definitely going to change a lot of how we do that. So I'm going to be working on some things to talk to you guys about the difference between Google Analytics 4 properties and the Universal Analytics, but I'll be rolling that out. I just want to put this on your radar. So if you have a website developer, if you have someone that's doing your hosting for your website, talk to them about adding that code to the website so that they're in a place to continue tracking their data. Someone was telling me, they're like, well, we don't really use our Google Analytics. And I'm like, okay, I get that. It's mostly a brochure site to really show that they're real. Their sales channel is offline. I get it, but at some point it's going to go online. Some point you're going to want to utilize and realize that data, right? So why have a hole in your data? So just something to think about. I would consider adding, again, the Google Analytics 4 properties to your website if you have it. If you don't, you can easily set it up. You go into your Google Analytics account and you can actually set up a new property in there. That'll give you the right code and everything that you need for that. So that's really all I had today. So wanted to talk just a little bit about the Apple iOS updates. I've been talking about these for months now, but I'm finding that it's starting to just pick up traction with my clients and my audiences in terms of what questions that they're asking, especially since they're still asking about opens. We need to start moving that conversation from opens to engagement. And then, of course, you need to be making sure that you're updated for all the new tracking requirements with Google. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out. You can drop a note in the comments, even with the replay, especially if you tag me. I do check these to make sure that I can get back to you. And always you're welcome to send me a direct message, personal message, whatever you need, because I want to make sure that you have what you need to be successful in your marketing. All right. Thank you guys and have a great day.